Hello YouTube, this is Hunter Surge here with day 20? I think yesterday was day 19. I believe it was day 19? Let's double check. Yeah, yesterday was day 19, so this is day 20. Day 20 of Firestorm reveals. We have Hestia stuff today. Yesterday we had a creator reveal of the Floracne, champion of Hestia. So today we're getting the rest of the Hestia stuff. So let's see what we have for Hestia. Can Hestia be saved? Because Hestia needs some saving. So first up, we have the signature rune of Hestia. It is a counter rune similar to Hermes' Trickery. It is Hestia's Hearth. It is a counter rune for 1 fire. You enchant a fire from your underworld to a card on your field. Then if that card was Hestia or a champion of Hestia, you may enchant an additional fire from your underworld to it. So this card is pretty cool, and it synergizes extremely well with the last champion of Hestia that we're going to see today. But it does kind of need, I think it really needs like good like receive effects that you want to like proc during your opponent's turn or during your battle phase, which Warmight is, as we'll get into. So this card's pretty good, but it doesn't have like a whole bunch of cards that pair super well with it right now. You can also just use it as like basically full moon. Just going, okay, I'm going to spend the 1, attach 2 to my guy that's already attacking, and you're going to take an extra 2 damage. Just some nice burst damage. You can add on some effective healing, basically, because it's all coming from the underworld, and you can like attach 2 more to your Hestia, which is pretty cool. Helps deal with the cost issue that Hestia has, as does the Warmight. We'll get into that. But yeah, this card is pretty cool. Pretty neat. I'm not sure it's going to quite have its max capacity right now, but it's a pretty solid card. Then we have the 1 per box full art for Majorsa Champion of Hestia. This does look pretty nice. I can't deny that card does look real nice. Then we have Warmight, Champion of Hestia, fighting in Equilinx, I believe. That's right. Send that guy to Tartarus. Send that guy where he deserves to be. Okay, so Warmight, Champion of Hestia is a 3/1, 1 fire. When this Warmight receives 1 or more fire, you can target an Elestral and give it -3 attack until the next turn. When a player casts Hestia's Hearth, you can return up to 2 fire from your underworld to your spirit deck. So this obviously synergizes extremely well with Hearth. For one, this is like the first Hestia guy that's like a good guy. That's the biggest problem with the Hestia stuff right now, is that none of them are like good cards of themselves. They don't have good stat lines. They don't really impact the board at all. This is the first one that does that. It basically just represents a 6 attacker. And then when your opponent swings into it, you can go flip Hestia's Hearth, put 1 onto Warmight, put another onto Warmight, since those are 2 separate instances not happening at the same time. Similarly to Bloom with Mudlet, you are able to double proc the -3 effect. So, like, basically anything is going to die into that Warmight, which is a very nice combat trick. Pretty strong stuff. And then you get to heal 2 on top when Hestia's Hearth, in this scenario, basically already gives you a heal 1, which is super cool. That's really, really nice. Gives like, because like Hestia's biggest problem is that it's super expensive and really needs like some form of healing to help it. And these 2 cards in tandem really help with that problem. These are like by far the best support cards that Hestia has gotten so far. Very, very nice cards. I like these 2 a lot. Then we have the Floracne. Floracne is a 5/7, 2 cost, that you can disenchant a fire from your Hestia to search your deck for an Arachne's Lair and add it to your hand. During each end phase, an opponent must expend spirits equal to the number of Elestrals on their field if Arachne's Lair is enchanted. So we'll circle back to this after we look at Arachne's Lair, but just to briefly touch on this, it is very nice that we do have at least 1/2 cost that we can turbo into in Hestia in this base set, because that is one thing that Earth Scout and Emphyrix excel at. So that's very cool. And the burn effect is pretty potent. If your opponent can't deal with the Floracne, they're just going to be taking like this extra damage every turn. You can plop it in defense, and it's not going to be completely passive because it's always going to be threatening this burn damage, which is very nice. Not something that you would typically see. Maybe you do some Argo stuff. Like, the reason I say that is because 5 attack is not good. 5 attack is not a good attack stat to be having. I originally thought that maybe the stadium would apply some sort of stat modification to the field, but unfortunately it does not, so you're just kind of stuck with this 5 attack, and that leaves you in a position where like a Spectres or a Galaxy can come down and just threaten to crash with your Floracne and take away your burn effect, which is not super ideal. That's not exactly where you want to be. That's not the greatest thing in the world. You want to at least be forcing the use of Zeus Demeter, but maybe you just run an Argo package in this deck, and like you go into Torch, you run Torch there, and you can alternatively go into Necklace. You can also go into Lyre, swap its stats to a 7/5. That's pretty good. There's some options. There's some options that are available here to make this work. Like, if Hestia is going to be good this set, it is likely going to be off the back of Warmite and Hearth and Floracne. Definitely seems like the aspect that has the most promise. Okay. Then we have Arachne's Lair. This is, of course, a Stadium Rune. This is a 1-fire Stadium Rune. When a player casts a Warmite, Frostmite, Kite-Mite, Floracne, Polarachne, or Parachne, that player must draw a card. So, first things first, I really think this should have just bitten the bullet on like named archetypes and go like, when a player casts an Elestral with Might or Arachne in its name. Because as it is, it's like, okay, we can do Nexus form. We can do title forms for these Elestrals. We can do like new versions of these Elestrals that have the same name, no title, but have a new effect. We can do that for new Spider cards. But if we want to do like Nexus forms, we're kind of forced into doing what was done with Charcoon and giving it this line of text that says it's always treated as one of these Elestrals. And that's kind of awkward, especially with the like hard 5 lines of card text rule that Elestrals has imposed on itself, incorrectly, I believe. They should not be doing that. It's a bad idea. Card text length is not the problem with, say, Yu-Gi-Oh! Card complexity. It is mostly down to the fact that there's no line breaks between effects. But this just feels like a really clunky way to handle this card. In addition, this effect is pretty strong, but I'm really disappointed that this isn't like an attack debuff on your opponent's field. Like, it would have been really cool if this was like Elestrals that aren't the Spiders get like a -1/-1, because like the consistent theme of all of the Spider Elestrals has been, oh, they do debuff stuff. Original Warmite debuffs attack. Original Frostmite debuffs defense. Polarachne debuffs attack and then can pop Elestrals once their attack is low enough. And what is original Floracne again? I think it also does something along those lines. Actually, no. I think it's more. I think it like stops attacks. Yeah, and then Floracne like stops them from attacking. Gives them summoning sickness. But yeah, like there's been a pretty consistent theme of debuffing among the Spiders, even including that Floracne, because that's just it's debuffing you in a way that isn't sat, but still debuffing you. So it would have been really cool to see that trend continue, but unfortunately it has not. And instead we have this. This card is pretty good. However, it's a bit awkward with Floracne because like the playline is like you normal send into the Floracne, and you use its effect, disenchant from Hestia, you search your deck for Arachne's Lair. Then you play Arachne's Lair so that you can threaten to burn your opponent on their turn. However, very importantly, you've gone through your casts for the turn already, which means you can't profit from the draw effect of Lair the turn you put it down, which is going to really suck if your opponent on their turn goes T-Storm the Lair or play a Stadium of My Own. Like, there's like a bit of anti-synergy between the Searcher and Lair that really sucks because you're not getting anything out of Lair the turn you, if you play it down the turn you get it with Arachne, but if you don't play it down the turn you play down Arachne, you're not threatening the burn. Which means to get the burn, you need Arachne to live multiple turns, which is not ideal. Like, it's weird. It's very strange. The card is still very powerful, though, because, like, all of the spiders are, like, pretty solid cards, able to threaten a lot of Elestrals with the ability to take them down. Like, Warmite can take out anything that's, like, 6 attack or lower. Original Warmite. New Warmite can take out anything 5 attack or lower. You can use Hestia to play multiple onto the board in a turn. So if you see this without searching it, it's a lot stronger. Because then you can go just play it out. We go like special cast out Warmite, ascend into Arachne, or cast out another spider. And we get to draw 2, and that's really, really strong. So this card is definitely still good. There's just a lot of awkwardness with its use with Arachne specifically. That is, it feels weird. It feels very strange. But this card definitely still reads very strong. It is a very good reason to be in on this spider stuff. Another thing I do want to note, and this is something that I was really hoping we would get last set, is that this is a stadium with the Insectoid subclass. Now, as I recall, I'm just going to double check on this. Moonrise. So, like, Ardbud is able to ascend by removing a spirit from any spider card on the field. Any insectoid card on the field, sorry. It doesn't have to be... it does not have to be from an Elestral. Yeah, you can disenchant a spirit from your insectoid cards. However, I don't believe any of them can search for an insectoid card. Ardbud, Insectoid Elestral... no, Aardvarm can search for this card, which is interesting. But Aardvarm has to pop an Insectoid Celestial. But Titan can discard an Insectoid card. So you could see the Aardbud stuff being used alongside this. But that's really awkward on elements, to be honest. Because the spiders are in fire, frost, and wind. And the Aardbud stuff is in earth and lunar. And then you still want water in there for generic purposes. That's a lot of elements that you have to be running there. Realistically, the big thing that Insectoid Stadium does for Ardbud is it gives it a method to immediately ascend when you don't already have a guy on the field. And also doesn't require you to sack off a guy, which can be very detrimental if you get Gorgon's Case. But the problem is, the problem with that is that we kind of got a better method of doing that within Firestorm. So it's kind of outdated now unless we get a stadium specifically tailored to Ardbud. Because in this set we have the Specteris, Champion of Artemis. So that allows you to go cast Artemis, suppress a guy, cast out Ardbud, search Specteris, Champion of Artemis, special cast out Champion of Artemis, Specteris, pop it, go into Aardvarm, Aardvarm, search another Specteris, special cast Specteris, pop it, go into Titan. Now, that line does have a significant weakness in the fact that it depends on a suppressed card remaining on your opponent's field. Which means that if your opponent has any freely activatable counter rune, they can just go, okay, flip up my counter rune, pay off the card that you've suppressed, so that it's under-enchanted, it leaves the field, and now you can no longer special cast your Specterises, and they're just kind of dead in your hand. Which is not exactly where you want to be. That's not the ideal place to be. But it does get you the whole line. So it's ultimately probably more worthwhile than trying to splash this stadium into Ardbud. But it is very cool that it is an Insectoid stadium, so that option is still available. It just probably won't be the way that you end up using Ardbud. The Champion of Spectaris Artemis stuff is more likely to be the route you go forward for accelerating your Antitan Ascension. But this card's really strong. This card's still really, really strong. Like, really good reason to be in on an archetype like this. If Kite Mite and Pirocne, which are the Wind Spiders, of course, are good, that's even better. However, unfortunately, Kite Mite and Pirocne have been confirmed to not being revealed today. They are being revealed in tomorrow's video. And while it makes sense, that means that reveals are going to be going into Saturday, the day of Dallas, which means they're obviously going to be revealed during the stream, like the Solar cards were during the last premiere. And while that's a cool, exciting thing, that also means that I won't be able to react to those cards until, like, Tuesday, because I'm not really going to be in a place where it's easy for me to set up my ability to record until then. Which is, like, just not really ideal for me. That's kind of unfortunate. But it is what it is. It's how the cookie crumbles. That's just how it's working out. And it's really unfortunate for me in particular, because as you may know, I really like Frost. I like Frost a lot. However, those three last cards are the three remaining Frost cards, including the Morphrost Chimera form, which makes me really scared of Morphrost Chimera form, because, like, there's, like, that concept of a Chimera form Morphrost has, like, a lot of broken things it could very easily be. Like, really incredibly strong stuff that idea brings immediately to mind for me. So if they're also saving it for Dallas, that tells me it's probably a pretty big reveal. That's probably pretty strong. Because those Solar cards that they lined up for the last premiere, those were pretty strong cards. Liar is, like, probably one of the most impactful cards in the set because of how fundamentally it changes what you can do with Argo. And Soulbell and Exaltus and Plucky all change a lot for Solar. So that scares me. And then there's also probably a two-stage Ascension line for Frost in there of new Elestrals. So yeah, that will be. I'll be talking about that on Tuesday when I get down to my parents' Florida home post Dallas, because I'm going down there to visit them for a bit before coming back up to Canada at the beginning of April. I will be able to record the video there, but, like, not really until then. So I'll be a bit late on that. I'll probably just wait for the 25 days to be fully over so I can just go over all the Vanity Rarity stuff as well at the same time. Also, we have... where is it? Yes, here it is. We also have the Reverse Stellar Warmite. This looks sick as hell. A-Drive talked about earlier in the reveal season that there was a specific Stellar that got its color scheme, its Stellar color scheme changed in Firestorm, and this is it. I like it a lot. Blue Fire is something I'm a really big sucker for, so this is really cool. However, I have to whine about something. So let's whine about something. Where is Hestia's Hearth? Hestia's Hearth is number 77. And Arachne's Lair is number 79. So where does that place them? Well, Hestia's Hearth is here. Number 77, right between these two artifacts, and then we have the freaking Arachne's Lair here. What the hell is going on here, man? Like, fire goes Divine, Artifact, then we go Counter, Artifact, Stadium, Invoke. You may recall, as we went over in some previous videos, that in all previous sets except Daybreak, stadiums have come last in the rune order. They've always been placed last. Yet we have 2 stadiums before Reforge. Then we have like a counter rune nestled between 2 artifacts. Are you kidding me, man? I wanted another artifact. I wanted one more artifact for the Hephaestus deck. Come on! What is this? Like, can we please just establish some like clear rules on the ordering of runes? It's really annoying. I really like looking at collection code stuff, and I really wish the rune ordering wasn't complete nonsense. Like, in every other color, it's normal. Water, we go Divine Invoke. Thunder, we go Divine Invoke. Wind, we go Divine, Artifact, Artifact. And then 5 counters, which is like normal ordering. Like, the original ordering, as I recall, was Divine. Like, Invokes and counters have always been like kind of interchangeable, but it's like Divines, Artifacts, then Invokes and counters, and then Stadiums. So this is the correct order for Wind. Then we have Frost only has 1, and then Solar has Artifact, Invoke, correct order. That's the order we've had before. Why is Fire just complete nonsense? What happened here? Why did you do this? Oh! I don't ask for much, but please make the rune ordering make sense. It pains me so much. Alright, that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow for the Wind Spiders. See ya.